Hi everyone, my name is Nivedita, or as people call me, Niv. I'm a senior JIS and I take the IB diploma program. No claps or anything? Thank you. I was under the impression that taking IB was the hardest task that anyone could do in high school, because that is all that TikTok ever showed me when I was deciding between AP and IB. Well, anyway, being an IB student has its perks. Nope, it just has its difficulties. I love it when I check my calendar on a Sunday night and I'm greeted with 5 classes the following Monday. Psychology HL, Economics HL, Math HL, Chemistry SL, and English SL. Oh, and to top it off, I know I have to run for training 3:15 to 5:15 that Monday. But the funny part is, with so much happening in a day, it's not even the worst part of the day. The worst part is when I come home and I'm greeted with 4 people dead, 20 people injured. A hello would be good, great actually. But I end my school day by listening to the catastrophes in the world from a small screen in my living room. So has anyone here heard the phrase doomscrolling? A raise of hands, maybe? All right. So doomscrolling is a negative spiral where studies have shown that a constant consumption of bad news or spending excessive amounts of time on negative news can take a serious toll on one's mental health. With many news outlets in the world conveying every little negative detail in the world, I'd ask why people really watch the news at all. Here's the thing though, the news isn't that bad everywhere. While one news channel will interfere in the lives of celebrities and call it news, some others actually show constructive news. I was having a conversation with my dad the other day, and we were talking about how Indian news channels have the tendency to show news that shouldn't be news, to clarify. For example, a lot of Indian news channels will show photographs of a celebrity attending a funeral. And it's appalling because how is that news, I'd ask? My dad compared this news to media outlets such as the Good News Network, which actually shows us constructive news and positive news that can be uplifting. For example, breaking news, a new bridge is being built, which can lead to decreased traffic. How motivating is that? I can almost envision no traffic, which is so needed, by the way. I don't think my power school can take any more tardies at this point. So, this is simply a larger view of the problem that lies within only seeing what is shown to us. If we constantly look at the negative news, our knowledge will only be filled with negatives. On the other hand, if we see positive news, that is what life will show us. Let's go back to my favorite 5-block Mondays. The best part of it, with no sarcasm intended, is the fact that all of it is so bearable because I enjoy it. And the worst part is that no TikTok ever showed me how much I would enjoy the IB. Yes, I get it. Who would want to write a 4,000-word essay for fun? But the problem is, no one tells you that it would be 4,000 words on a topic that you love, a topic of your choice. I had the opportunity to explore 2 speeches that I love and analyze them. But all that TikTok ever showed me was how time-consuming and energy-draining writing my EE would be. Seeing what is not shown to us, rather than only seeing what is shown to us, is what it means to reframe our view. We aren't changing what happens, but we're changing what we choose to see. And that is how we reframe our view. And that is also how we widen our perspective to see the bigger and better picture. This negative messaging isn't simply a TikTok problem or a media problem. These tools may have aggravated it, but at its core, the fixation on negative messaging is a human problem. Let me give you an example. So, until my family and I visited the US, my parents were hell-bent on not allowing us to go to the US for higher education. And why is that? Because the aunties that my mom is friends with told her about the bad experiences their children had in the US. Oh, the food is horrible. You know how it is, right? Always a difficulty to make friends. Okay, I'm not sure if you've heard stuff like this, but I have. And the fear built to go to university in the next few months, it is so scary. But here's the thing again. No one comes and openly tells you about how their child is doing good. Nobody would say, oh, my son loves it. Oh, my daughter is so popular now. No, the truth is, you will always hear what isn't going well as compared to what is going well. Need a wider example? A news headline read, COVID-19 vaccines and sudden deaths? Leave the news. In my family itself, the topic of conversation was, oh, the vaccines are so painful. My hand was hurting for the next 4 days. I don't understand why we aren't talking about how they did not contract COVID-19 after they got the vaccines. All we heard was the bad side effects that took place and the sudden deaths that took place. Let's do one more example. On 15th August 2022, the main coverage in news was deaths caused by shelling near Ukrainian nuclear plant and China's economy falling. Yes, 100%, they are important problems that need to be discussed. But on the same day, Scotland made period products free. So to ask, when I search up 15th August 2022 news, or even 15th August 2022 news in Scotland, why is it not one of the top headlines? Making period products free decreases period poverty, a big social issue in our world today. It's seen in the lives, and it would help the lives of those who menstruate. And yet, it is nowhere to be seen, because that news is simply hidden under the negatives. The amount of coverage on positive aspects of life will always be outweighed by the coverage on negative aspects of life. It took a trip to the US for my parents to understand the academic opportunities that my brother and I would receive if we did our higher education in the US. And what that really was a shift in perspective. Shifting your own view is a very important aspect of life. It becomes a harder task when we try to shift everyone's view together. But to shift your own view is a personal choice that you can make. Let's try it. In light of the mock examinations that we seniors and AP students had, how can we define examinations? Test of knowledge, maybe? Is that what you're thinking about? Okay. I would say no. And here's the definition that I hope reframes your view into a more positive one and what you choose to hold in your future. Tests are a celebration of your knowledge. And everybody loves celebrations, right? So let's celebrate what we learn, and instead of stressing to the point that we get acne and backaches. We're really, really young for all of that. Shift your perspective, reframe your view, enjoy the process, and let's try to outweigh negative perspectives with positive ones. I'd like to talk about one last thing. It's the perspectives that we hear from. I just spoke about how we not only see what is not shown to us, but we choose to focus on what is shown to us, and how negative news will always outweigh positive news. One last problem that lies within perspectives is that every situation in this world has a default perspective. If there are hardships in a family, or in the family itself, if there's a disabled child, or there's financial issues, we jump to the perspective of the parent. And I've seen it. So I actually have a friend who has a sibling with autism. And I realized I've never really heard his perspective of life and their situation with their family. I've heard his mom's side of the story, though. How she felt when she learned that her child had autism, the shock that she faced, and how she moved ahead with it. But I never really heard how my friend felt, or how he continues to feel. I was casually scrolling through Instagram when I saw the word glass child, and it was truly eye-opening. So a glass child is the sibling of a child with a mental or physical disability, where often the parents of that child would have to divert their focus and attention on the child with the disability. And that diversion of attention leads the glass child to grow up by themselves. This expedited growth, or growing up, makes them look strong when they might not be. And here's the thing, right? This isn't to play a blame game on who it is that is responsible for the production of glass children. But it is to shift our perspective and provide our energy where needed. So yes, sometimes parents might end up looking right through their glass child. But if we knew if we just knew about the perspective of the glass child, we would share words of comfort, not only with the parents, but the sibling of the child too. We as a society would help the sibling and make sure they aren't looked through like glass, but looked at with courage and pride. Learning about glass children was a wake-up call for me, mainly because I realized that we live in a world today where there are a lot of defaults. It may be as small as keeping the most useless apps on your phones because they're default apps, to as big as establishing a world with a default gender. Yes, that is true. We live in a world today where the default gender is a man. From the constant use of he when the gender is not identifiable, to data showing that a man is the primary norm of our society and the primary source of data collection. We learn that even genders have a default. Shifting these defaults is shifting our perspective. It is shifting our view, reframing our view for the better and bigger picture, so that we don't look through glass children, but look at them with support. And so that we don't delete pictures from our gallery instead of deleting default applications to clear up our storage. And so that we definitely do not allow the existence of a default gender where we use the term he when the gender is unknown to us. The truth is, we as a society will forever acquire biased knowledge until the point that we are able to step out of our personal bubbles and look at different perspectives rather than looking through them. Oh, look, it's a spool. Exactly. The way you shifted your heads is as simple as it is to shift our perspective. And when we choose to do that, we choose to move a step forward in our process of acquiring unbiased knowledge, a step further in our process of reframing the view. Thank you.